Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Girome, or Girome, in the 5-minute pool in ICC. Let's play Nimzo-Indian. Yeah, let's play Queen C2. And if castle's Knight F3, this is a line that I played before on this channel. Yeah, let's take. This player is a regular in the 5-minute pool. I recall playing them off and on over the years. Okay, so we have like a Queen's Gambit decline type position with the bishop out on b4. Then again, black has avoided one of white's more dangerous setups with the knight coming to e2 in the central push plan. So very likely this bishop will be retreated soon. I mean, he may debate between these squares, d6, e7, or even f8 if his knight hadn't gone there. Now, I wonder if knight e5 is decent. Just trying to utilize that outpost. Yeah, let's give it a shot, because if bishop d6, maybe I can play f4 and prop up the knight. Plays bishop e7. Okay, let's play rook b1 and just go for the minority attack plan. Yeah, and he wants to trade. We'll go here. Let's pre-move that capture. Probably bishop d6 will be played, looking for further trades. I'm not going to touch the kingside yet. There's no reason to. So let's just proceed with the standard plan. b4, b5, create a weakness. Bishop g4. So he's maybe trying to go bishop h5 to g6. Looks like the idea. If b5... I'm just going to bring this over first before anything else. I'm just wondering, like, if he's going to play for c5 in a bid to weaken my c-file and maybe attack that knight on c3. So b5 would be consistent. c5 takes. Could be trades forthcoming if that happens. Let's play queen b3. That way I'm hitting this d5 pawn a couple times. So in the event of like b5, c5, this pawn would be hanging. He can like reposition his rook a little bit. Like maybe rook here wasn't a bad option there. Yeah, let's just go ahead and play this. So very likely he's just going to be ending up with a weak pawn in the center. Seems to be the case. Okay, now, knight a4 to c5 would be a typical maneuver. But I kind of think I might want that knight towards the king side, because he's going to play knight h4. Let's go queen a4. Eyeing the a7 pawn and also c6, and just see how he reacts. You might play knight h4. I'm thinking knight e2 then. So if queen g6, knight g3, or knight f4 even, attacking the queen and defending g2. Maybe in some cases there's like a knight takes d5 shot. I'm kind of x-raying the rook on e8 as well. g3 wouldn't be a bad move either, if I want to play that. Okay, let's do this as planned. I just want to make sure my king is secure, because I know I'm better on the queen side in view of their weaknesses. So just want to secure the king first and then focus on taking advantage of those weaknesses later. Does this blunder a pawn? Rook takes b8, rook takes b8, queen takes c6, trade, trade. He has rook b2 at the end of that sequence. He's playing for activity now. So trade, rook takes. I can actually take either pawn in that case. Let's do that. I'm a little bit leery about surrendering control of the file, but yeah, I think I'll be able to defend. Maybe queen g6. Queen g6 would have dropped the rook, actually. Never mind. Okay, so here is what I was thinking. Got to move the knight. It was attacked. It's a little scary. I mean, he's going to have a lot of stuff coming against my king, but as long as I keep f2 and g2 secure, I'll be all right. Like if queen f6, I can play rook f1 and guard f2. And I don't see how he's going to get another attacker on g3. Like, he can't wiggle his queen in to attack that pawn. So as far as I can tell, this is all right. I mean, yeah, my pieces are tied down for the moment, but I can, like, run my a pawn, if anything. Pretty soon, if it hits, like, a5, a6, he's going to have to start thinking defensively. In the meantime, I mean, he'd like to run his h-pawn down the board to, like, try to kick my knight away, but, of course, his own knight is in the way. So it's sort of like, how do you do anything if you're him? Okay, let's quickly push this. He's going to get behind the pawn. But c6 will always be weak. So, like, if his queen wants to come over and help out and take this pawn, I don't see an easy way for him to do so. If queen d8, I can take f7. That's hanging. Time-wise, we're both doing okay. I think playing a quick a4, a5 really puts the pressure on him. I mean, now he hasn't really shown much with his last two moves, king h7, rook a2. The onus is on him to try to come up with something decent now. I think he's going to stage a full-scale retreat pretty soon. Because how else do you defend against this advancing pawn? I somehow think queen d8 is likely. You know, king h7 probably didn't do him any favors because on a g8, at least the king was protecting f7. He's thinking g6. Okay. Well, just queen b7. I don't see what his plan is. I mean, he wants f7 defended, but what are you going to do now? c6 is going to fall if he plays queen d8. I could just play a7 as well. I mean, maybe he should have tried knight f5 a while ago to trade knights, but even that doesn't really help. There's always that weakness of c6. So he's going for e8. a7, queen e8. I have queen b8 then, don't I? But he has king f8. Nevertheless, I mean, once we play this move, he can, like, scarcely defend. Queen b8. Yeah, let's do queen b8 first of all. Then I always can go to a dark square like king f8, queen d6 if necessary. I think I'm quickly just going to play h3 after he plays king f8 and just solve the back rank dilemma. Yeah, he just resigned. But I mean, a plan would be like king f8. I could even just play like rook b1, I think, if I wanted. Idea of trading the queens and then playing rook b8 check followed by queening. So, you know, for instance, like here, I probably don't even need h3 here, and then, you know, he has almost nothing to do. Just say he plays some random move.
Check.
Take, give a check, king moves, and then queen. And we also control the back rank too. Also, I have knight f1 if necessary. Okay, so let's have a look. So this is a Nimzo turned into more of a Queen's Gambit decline structure when he played for d5 and we traded. And the bishop is, I don't think, very well placed in this type of line. I think if you're going to go for this like Rogozin line, you want to play for c5 rather than c6 because it just seems like the bishop ends up retreating anyways. You don't want to trade on c3 especially. So if you do trade on c3, then Black's going to have to work harder to break this pin. So all this happened, castles. But like I said, Black at least did avoid the plan of knight g2 for White because I'd already committed my knight to f3 by the time he played d5. So here, knight e5, bishop back to e7. I played rook ab1, preparing the minority attack. I'm just going to turn the engine on right about here. So he's looking to simplify a little bit. He especially wants to get rid of this outposted knight. So I played bishop g3. We traded. He went bishop d6, instigating another trade, and then b4. So minority attack time. Could play a6. That's one way to handle the minority attack. Try to stop white from playing b5. I probably would have played like rook f(c1), knight a4, knight c5, and then a4, b5 thereafter. Because I think I've shown in other videos, if you play a4 here with your knight still on c3, then they can respond with b5, and sometimes that's tricky because you have a hard time making this a relevant piece. So I just found that it's usually better to like put the knight in on c5 first if they've already played a6, and then go for a4, b5. So, and granted, they could play b5 right here. In that case, I might even like switch tracks and try to play for e4. That's an interesting move, actually, b5. Like, that deserves some consideration for him. But he just did this bishop maneuver. And like I said, I didn't want to play b5 here with the rook x-raying my queen. I thought maybe c5, and after a trade, like he could take with the rook or the queen. And I'd rather get out of this pin first before playing b5. So here, bishop g6, trade. Yeah, I mean, he played like kind of straightforward, I suppose, with all these trades that he's doing. But in doing so, he allowed me to carry out my main plan of creating a weakness. So queen a4. Yeah, now knight e2. I think this is a timely way to defend the king. So trying to put the knight on g3. The knight just seems optimally placed there. I could play, I didn't think about this till later, but I could play g3 to try to restrict the knight. But I wonder if that like allows like certain squares for his queen to come into, like maybe eventually this. He could also push the h-pawn because that g3 represents a hook that he could latch onto to try to weaken my position. So all in all, I think this plan of like knight e2 to g3 is really effective. I'll have to remember this for future games. And I mean, it looks really greedy what I did, just taking this pawn, but I had faith in my defensive resources. I didn't really see what he could do. I thought about queen takes c6 too, but I wasn't sure about the ramifications of this. I guess I can just play knight c3. Okay, guarding the back rank and also guarding the pawn. It seemed more appealing at the time to take the a-pawn and leave c6 weak, but like immediately gain a passed pawn of our own. Because as you saw, that passed a-pawn becomes a force pretty soon. Like I said, if black doesn't come up with something like here around the next move or two, he's in big, big trouble. Yeah, and it looks like, according to the engine, white's very much in the driver's seat. So queen f6, threatening f2. I played rook f1. Yeah, and he just kind of floundered here. He started using time and wasn't able to come up with much. I didn't see anything for him either. Like I said, I mean, he can try to push the pawns, but where are they going? Like, his knight always gets in the way. And he wants his knight and queen to coordinate in an attack on g2, but how does he do that? Because f3 and h3 are covered by the pawn. e4 is covered by my knight if he somehow got his queen here. And f2 is safe. So the reason why white's defenses are so strong here is because I haven't moved any of these pawns. I didn't like move them up and expose them and create unnecessary weaknesses. So I have a feeling he's probably just busted now. Yeah, like knight f5. I guess maybe he should take his chances and try to trade and hold out in the major piece endgame. But I think I'm going to win a pawn or two, and he still has to neutralize the a-pawn. But he waited too long, like rook a2, a5, g6. Yeah, this is far too slow. I can just move my pawn up. I thought he was going to play queen d8 in this position, in which case I could play a7 and play like the game, or just take the pawn on c6 too is also possible. So, yep, queen here and game over. Looks like a pretty smooth win. This is a nice one. Especially in view of my poor play in my bullet video today. So if you want to see the exact opposite of smooth, controlled, logical play, go check out my bullet video for today. But all right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back tomorrow with another Blitz game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.